YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back, and today we're ranking NFL teams based on their linebacker units. Going to rank every single team here. We got some unit rankings already on the channel, plenty more to come here. We're going to finish these up. We have player rankings by position already on the channel, and once we're through these unit rankings, we'll do offenses. We'll rank 32 to 1 based on offenses for each team, and then same thing for defense. Then we got our final predictions for the season. And then the NFL year starts. We got full coverage in season, weekly predictions, power rankings, plenty more. So you're going to want to subscribe to us, trying to reach that 60K goal by week 1 of the NFL. You're going to want to follow that Twitter, live tweeting pretty much every game, constant updates on the NFL and the channel. And then we have a podcast as well, weekly episodes. Link in the description and in the comments for anything that you may need there. But on the linebacker units, I split up the 3-4 defenses with the 4-3 defenses for the linebacker units because obviously you can't really compare the two. Some teams use edge rushers in their linebacker units. So we're ranking the 3-4 linebacker units first. There's 14 of them. And here at the bottom of the 3-4 units here is going to be the LA Rams. Terrell Lewis will be an edge rusher for them, Alabama rookie here. I love the draft pick. I'm a huge Terrell Lewis fan. He very well could be their best pass rusher if he's healthy. That's a big if. That's why he dropped a little bit. This guy had a first-round talent all day. Micah Kaiser, Reader, and they brought in Leonard Floyd, which I thought they paid him a little more than I expected, but he couldn't really make it happen with Khalil Mack, so we'll see what happens here with this group. He does have Aaron Donald in front of him. But, yeah, that's definitely on the weaker side. They traded for Kenny Young last year. Didn't really use him. So maybe he can sneak his way in here. A guy that I'm thinking could step up is a guy like Okoronkwo a couple years ago from Oklahoma. A freaky pass rusher, was very productive in college. So that's a guy that could step up as well. So they might have depth, some guys that can be sneaky X factors for them, but definitely at the bottom of the 3-4 teams. 13 will be the Jets. Jordan Jenkins on the outside. And then the inside with no C.J. Mosley is going to be Avery Williamson and Patrick Owosu, who they got from the Ravens. They also have Blake Cashman. So they're pretty deep on the inside linebacker position. Having Mosley would have boosted their rank. The rookie Jabari Zuniga, I'm projecting to get most snaps this year at the opposite edge rush position other than Jenkins, opposite of Jenkins, I should say. So a little bold there. I think they're strong on the inside. They're kind of weak on the outside. I shouldn't say strong. They're better on the inside. They're weak on the outside. So the Jets find their way to number 13 for the 3-4 linebacker unit rankings. Some of these teams I'm predicting to play 3-4 and 4-3. They're kind of a mystery. We'll talk about when we get there. The Patriots also, always been kind of a hybrid team. Gave us looks of both types of defenses, 3-4, 4-3, all types of different looks. So we'll continue to see that. I think their base defense will be 3-4. On the edge rush position, at the outside linebacker position, that'll be Chase Winovich and Josh Uche. Uche, the draft pick from Michigan. The inside is where they have a problem, losing Hightower for the year. And then the outside was affected by Van Noy and Collins there as well. But Bentley and Calhoun projected the inside, very weak on the inside, as you can see. They could have a guy like Anthony Jennings step up on the outside, so they might have options on the outside there. The Giants at number 11, projected 3-4 defense once again, obviously. Marcus Golden, who they get back, kind of the bright spot of this unit here. On the inside, you got Blake Martinez, who they get from Green Bay, and then they have Mayo there. So a little on the weaker side of the inside. Martinez, I guess, is somewhat of an upgrade. And then they have Lorenzo Carter, who kind of a raw prospect out of Georgia a couple years ago, because is he a 4-3 outside or is he a 3-4 outside? So he's kind of just still breaking into this role, and he could actually break out soon. The Dolphins are a team, Brian Flores from the Patriots tree, that are going to give us different looks. They're going to give us 3-4 looks. They're going to give us 3-4 and 4-3 looks. All kind. They brought in the talent to give both. I put them with the 3-4 teams. And this is what, I have them going. Van Noy, that's going to play outside linebacker no matter what type of look they're going to give. Raekwon McMillan, Jerome Baker on the inside, and Vince Beagle started to develop as kind of that role as an edge rusher for Brian Flores last year. So they come in at number 10. Yeah, again, that's definitely a team that can give some 4-3 looks. They have the defensive linemen like Shaq Lawson that I think can be an end in either scheme. They have the right pieces up there to run either. So Dolphins were a tricky one where to rank them, but I chose to put them with the 3-4 schemes, because that's what I think they'll run most of. But it's going to be interesting to see for sure. The Ravens, Matthew Judon at edge rush position, Jalen Ferguson, the opposite side at the edge rush position, the outside linebacker in the 3-4. They also have Pernell McPhee that can step in at that role. The inside, Patrick Queen, who they drafted in the first round, and L.J. Fort. They did draft Malik Harrison from Ohio State. By the end of the year, I think it'll be pretty even on who got how many snaps between Fort and Harrison, but I think they start the year with Fort, so that was the deciding factor there, and they'll be pretty even in snap counts. So there's really nothing super strong about this group. They'll probably play better than they are because the rest of the defense, and because Don Martindale uses these guys. He'll use Queen and some blitz packages. Obviously, Judon's a very solid edge rusher as well, but they could use more to this group. They could add more to this group here. But will play well because the defense is very strong. Packers at number 8. Tough team to rank here because you look at the Smith bros on the edge, and just by looking at the edge rush position with Darius Smith and Preston Smith, they look strong. They look like they're going to come out on top here because those are linebackers in their 3-4 defense. Inside is absolutely killing them. Christian Kirksey, talent-wise, yeah, he was pretty good, but that was a few years ago when he was healthy. You have the injury concern here, and then projected, the other inside linebacker, Oren Burks, perhaps, who hasn't really worked out. Ty Summers, last year from TCU, guy to look out for. But yeah, the inside linebacker group really weighs them down, but I'm a big fan of the Smith bros on the outside there. The Texans are an interesting one. They're a base 3-4 defense, but they're going to get a lot of looks with just 3 of these guys that you see on the screen. Merciless is more of a pass rusher than McKinney and Cunningham as inside or as linebackers, really. And then J.J. Watt, because they're going to give these different looks because they have J.J. Watt, can be a defensive lineman or a defensive end, more of a pass rusher. So kind of filling that role in their base defense is Scarlett there. But the other 3 guys are more important to them, which is a pretty balanced group, pretty even group here. So they come in at number 7. Number 6 up to 1 for the 3-4 linebacker unit rankings. Titans at number 6. Love the inside linebacker unit for the Titans, Rashaan Evans and Jayon Brown. Those guys are actually involved a lot in getting after the quarterback as well. Those guys are a couple young studs there on the inside. Harold Landry, who I thought they stole in the draft a few years ago, really broke out last year. He's going to continue to get better. And they had Vic Beasley, which I think Vic Beasley can play much better with this group than maybe he did the last couple years in Atlanta. Keep in mind, I am still predicting Clowney to land with the Titans. If Clowney does land with the Titans, it changes some things there. They definitely get boosted up to the top because it would be Landry and Clowney there for the edge rush position of Titans there. Number 5, the Cardinals really boosting themselves up this year. Chandler Jones and Devon Canard there on the outside. Canard's fairly new to the edge rush position, and he's already kind of developed some traits there too, so that's impressive. Going to partner up with Chandler Jones. They have Isaiah Simmons, who's going to play pretty much everywhere. But out of training camp right off the bat, they have him on the inside. So I think that's where he'll get most of his snaps, which would be interesting because he didn't really play inside for Clemson, but he's very talented, so I'm not doubting him at all. And Jordan Hicks, who they got last year from the Eagles, and he was pretty big for them. They did sign Devondre Campbell, so they planned on being Hicks and Campbell. What they didn't plan on was being able to get Simmons in the draft. So they do have Campbell, keep in mind here. Pretty good linebacker unit here for the Cardinals. A big boost up from last year. Steelers at number 4, TJ Watt and Bud Dupree on the outside. Dupree with a breakout year last year, so hopefully we get more of that. Dupree, obviously Watt, one of the better pass rushers in football. Then Devin Bush was a big-time pickup. They were lacking in the inside linebacker position for so long there, it felt like, and adding Bush really helped them take that next step. And Vince Williams picked his game up because of that as well. So a pretty good group there for the Steelers. The top 3, before I even started making the rough draft, the top 3 in my head was already decided because I think it's pretty obvious here. Broncos at number 3. You look at the edge rush position with Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. That boosted them towards the top instantly. A.J. Johnson, who I like a lot. Big-time year last year. Definitely want to see more. A big-time year on the inside. He's their standout inside. And then Todd Davis on the inside as well. Very good group. I think it's stronger at the edge rush position, obviously. Hopefully Chubb stays healthy. The Bears at number 2, Khalil Mack, and now Robert Quinn. They add in free agency. Those are the edge rushers. So a big upgrade over Leonard Floyd there with Robert Quinn. The only question is he did play better in 4-3 defenses. The Bears are a 3-4, but he's going to play opposite of Khalil Mack and with Roquan Smith and Danny Trevathan inside of him. So I'm pretty darn confident with him. And I mentioned the inside linebacker unit is very balanced there. Roquan Smith, who's going to continue to get better, and Danny Trevathan on the inside as well. Very tough ranking these top three. I went with the Bucs number one. This is a very complete group right here. Shaq Barrett with the breakout year. The first year he really got the chance, and he went and broke out last year with this defense, with these players. And then Jason Pierre-Paul on the other side. Remember, Pierre-Paul missed a chunk of the season, the first half of the season, came back in, and he was very impressive, more impressive than I thought he would be. I was kind of wondering how would he be in this new 3-4 defense, but with the players around him and his talent, it worked very well. And I think they have the best inside linebacker duo in football, Levante David and Devin White. Devin White's going to continue to get better. I can't tell what Devin White's better at. Is he better in coverage, or is he better at sniffing out plays in the backfield? And Levante David is very good at actually rushing the passer, even though he's not an edge rusher as well. And we already know he's good in coverage. So this is a complete unit here. They work so well together too. Playing with each other last year. They had White was injured. Pierre-Paul was injured. Once they got the group together, they were firing off last year. And all these guys, I think, improvement. Even though Jason Pierre-Paul's a veteran, maybe he should start declining soon. This is really only his first full year with this group in this scheme. And he was getting going last year. So I think all four of these guys together, if healthy, will actually get better this year. And I don't mean, Barrett's going to get more than 19.5 sacks, but as a unit, I think they'll play, better than most people expect. So those are the 3-4 linebacker units. Let's move on to the 4-3 now. 18 teams that I have as 4-3 teams. The Falcons actually could be interesting. We almost expected them to go to 3-4 last year. They didn't really do it. Same thing could happen this year. They could possibly do it because they have Dante Fowler, who could be an edge rusher in a 3-4. I just think they stick with it. They were always stubborn to do it. So sticking to the 4-3, and as you can see, it's pretty much just Deion Jones carrying the way here. Other guys that can obviously step up, but they find themselves at the bottom of the 4-3 teams. The Eagles, a little rough in that department. Lost Hicks last year, let go of Nigel Bradham this year. Duke Riley, T.J. Edwards, Nathan Gary. There's really no telling which one. I don't really have a opinion on which one's their standout guy or anything. T.J. Edwards probably has the most upside. Definitely a sleeper guy there. But definitely on the weaker side. There's nobody bad on this group, but it's kind of balanced, but it's definitely on the weaker side. Bengals will be interesting to see who they roll with come day one there, week one. I like Jermaine Pratt. I liked him a lot pre-draft last year. They started to play him more and more as the season went on last year. This guy can he can cover. He's a former safety. And he's so athletic that he can blitz and get after the quarterback as well. So watch out for Jermaine Pratt. Hopefully he gets the opportunity. Josh Bynes they get from the Ravens. They'll likely put him inside. Then Logan Wilson, who they drafted out of Wyoming, they like him a lot. And they also drafted Davis Gaither there from Appalachian State, and I think he'll be involved more in third down, the obvious passing situations, because he can kind of similar to Jermaine Pratt, I suppose. So they can get unique with those type of guys. So, another pretty balanced group, but a lot of these guys got to prove. I'm a believer in guys like Pratt, but let's go out and prove it now. Young group here. The Browns, Mac Wilson, Jacob Phillips, and Sion Takitaki. I'm predicting that will be the group. Takitaki's an interesting one. He's kind of a hybrid player, can be a pass rusher as well. So I had a comparison of a poor man's Anthony Barr when he was coming out of BYU. So I'm curious to see him get more snaps. I hope he does, actually. So I'm going to see how they use him. Wilson and Phillips, I think both, in my opinion, can play inside, both can play outside in that 4-3. So we'll see what they do there. They kind of switch them up a bit at times. Panthers, Shaq Thompson here, and Tyre Whitehead, and they also have Jermaine Carter. We're going to see them run with a lot of the two linebacker sets there with Thompson and Whitehead. Shaq Thompson definitely carrying the way. Obviously, Luke Kuechly retiring, so that they took a hit in a ranking system like this because of that. The Chiefs got Wilson, Hitchens, and Willie Gay Jr., who they drafted. The pretty underrated group, I guess. People just kind of look at their the standout guys, Frank Clark, Chris Jones, on their defense, and Tyrann Mathieu. But these guys were sneaky good in the playoffs. Willie Gay obviously wasn't there because they just drafted him this year. But this guy, freaky, rangy guy, a lot of upside. This guy can be their best linebacker. Very good in coverage too. He could be their best linebacker pretty early on. Moving on to the next 6 teams here. We got the Washington football team at number 12. Previously a 3-4 team. Ron Rivera is going to move it to a 4-3. I think they actually could work in either scheme, obviously, but 4-3 the right move here. So looking at the linebackers, Bostic played the most snaps for them last year, but obviously, remember, it's a scheme change, different coach. Reuben Foster, we all know, very talented if on the field. That's kind of the big if, though, for him. And Cole Holcomb, I like that draft pick a lot last year. He could actually be involved in blitz packages. And they also have Thomas Davis, who they brought in, who Rivera's familiar with. Obviously declined a bit. They probably using him more for the leadership role, kind of a captain role, more of a coach. But he'll play. He'll definitely play. I just think, it's kind of riding on Foster, on him being healthy and on the field. I think these 3 guys could get they might be the most talented guys on the team. They can get the most snaps. So Washington number 12. The Chargers at 11. Could be a sneaky team here. Drew Tranquil I like a lot. They started to use him more and more as the year went on. Former safety, so very good in coverage, but excellent in the run game as well. They draft Kenneth Murray, who can play inside, and I trust that he can play outside. He actually played an edge rush position at times for Oklahoma, so he actually can get after the quarterback. And then Nick Vigil, who they get from the Bengals. They also have Perriman, who they'll kind of split some snaps up. He'll play. And Nwosu, I feel like, they're kind of getting ready for him to be possibly, the Melvin Ingram replacement because he's kind of a hybrid player, could be an edge rusher as well. We see Ingram do a bunch of different things. So they get a number of players there. Definitely a sneaky good young group, perhaps. The Lions at number 10, they add Jamie Collins, who, the Lions are another one of those hybrid teams. They'll give the 3-4 looks, the 4-3 looks, the Leo looks. The Chargers are going to run a Leo defense. But the Lions, I think, base defense, probably a 4-3. They have some of these linebackers that, off-the-ball linebackers that I think they'll be running more of the 4-3. Jamie Collins, Gerard Davis there, and then they have Christian Jones. They also have Jelani Taive, who they like a lot from Hawaii a year ago. And he got more snaps as the year went on. But that's when Davis was kind of hurt at times. He played a little more. So I think between the 4, and they have Reggie Ragland as well, actually. So between those guys, they'll probably split some snaps up. So pretty, good depth, good balance. Jamie Collins, maybe their standout guy. They could use some better play other than that, though. The Raiders will run a lot of nickels, so that means they'll run a lot of 2 linebacker sets, Corey Littleton and Nick Witkowski, who they got Littleton from the Rams, Witkowski from the Bears. Those guys would kind of be the main guys in the field there, but they do have Morrow as well. I think, Littleton, the standout guy, Witkowski, was actually very impressive when he had to play last year. And that being only 2 guys, mainly on the field at times. I think it's a pretty good group there for the Raiders. And then the Jaguars have Joe Schobert there, graphics guy, forgetting the T at the end of his name, so ignore that. We'll deal with it. But Joe Schobert, I think it was a good pickup. A guy that could play inside or out, just like Miles Jack. I think he can play inside or he can play a weak side as well. And they have Quincy Williams, who was, kind of that under the radar draft pick last year. And he actually played it quite a bit there, kind of taking some snaps away from a guy like Leon Jacobs, who they have as depth. So that'll be their 3 there. They also have the players to kind of move to a 3-4, but I'm confident they'll stick with the 4-3 for now. They can give us different looks. Colts at number 7, Darius Leonard, obviously the standout guy, Anthony Walker on the inside, and Bobby Okereke on the outside opposite Darius Leonard there, of course. So, I think Walker being a pretty solid inside linebacker tackling machine and Darius Leonard being a standout guy gets them above the rest of the teams we talked about so far. Moving on to the top 6 teams. The Vikings are going to run a ton of nickels, so it's going to be mainly Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr out there, of course, but they have Eric Wilson. They also have Ben Gideon, who used to play quite a bit before an injury, but Eric Wilson kind of took the role. Wilson's been pretty solid, but mainly the standout too there, Eric Kendricks being one of the better inside linebackers in football, and Anthony Barr, who they could use. I would like them to use a little more as kind of like a hybrid player because he can actually rush the passer from the edge. But they come in at number 6 mainly because they're duo there. The Seahawks at number 5, Bobby Wagner, KJ Wright, and now Jordan Brooks, who they drafted in the first round out of Texas Tech. Wagner the standout, Wright, kind of the veteran guy. Brooks I liked his tape. I like him inside though. That's kind of the problem, because I liked him a lot, but I liked him inside linebacker. Bobby Wagner's obviously their inside linebacker, 4-3. So, but Brooks has the range, athleticism to help in multiple ways there. The Bills at number 4. They got Tremaine Edmonds, Matt Milano, kind of their standout duo. Though it's a very good duo. 2 guys that are young and continue to get better. Tremaine Edmonds got a lot of potential. They got A.J. Klein. And they also have Voshon Joseph, too. Don't sleep on him. They drafted him from the Gators a year ago. Florida Gators, that is. And he's rangy and very athletic. So they'll use him a bit, too. And they get Klein for a reason, though. So those guys probably get the most snaps. Their duo standout, though, is what puts them at number 4. Saints got a pretty deep group here. They got Demario Davis, their standout guy. They recently just signed Nigel Bradham, who was recently on the Eagles. I think that was a very good pickup. And Kiko Alonso, I think if he's healthy, I still like him a lot. A guy that can play outside or inside. They also have Anzalone, too. So they got a pretty good group there. A number of guys that can play. It's kind of up in the air who will get more snaps this year, Alonso or Anzalone there. So they got numbers. That's a good thing there. And they got a couple guys that can obviously play at a high level, including Demario Davis there. Cowboys, health is the number 1 key here. Jalen Smith, which crazy. That's the guy I'm confident of being healthy because, what happened to him right before entering the NFL draft. But, I keep saying I want them to involve him more in blitz pack. I want them to blitz him more. I want the Cowboys to blitz him more is what I'm getting after. I think he actually can get after the quarterback at a pretty high level. But obviously good in coverage, good tackling. Van Der Esch, phenomenal rookie year. Last year when he played, didn't look the same, and then we find out, he's definitely hurt. He's playing hurt, but obviously a lot of potential, and definitely we know what we know what he's capable of. And Sean Lee obviously is another good linebacker too. It's just if he's healthy. So injury is the concern here for the Cowboys, but a very good balanced group here with some strong talent. The Niners I got at 1 though. Fred Warner's definitely a riser for sure. Today's style linebacker, very good in coverage, very rangy, athletic. Quan Alexander, when he's on the field, he's very good too. Some similar traits as Warner, obviously a little stronger, can fill gaps a little better. But early last year, he was really standing out in coverage, I thought. And then Dre Greenlaw was a sneaky good draft pick there for them. And he really stepped up when they needed him to when they had injuries. And that's another. The Niners are a team that's going to run a Leo defense, but I think the base will be a 4-3. But Nick Bosa, obviously a defensive end, and D4 is kind of that Leo position, with that opposite edge rusher of Nick Bosa there. But these are the 3 linebackers I expect on the field for the Niners. So there's my linebacker unit ranks. Really enjoyed this one because you get to see the difference here between the 4-3 and the 3-4 teams. And some of these teams will give hybrid looks, different looks. They won't be set on one thing. I love those teams recently. That's kind of a newer thing. Some teams starting to develop. And some teams I just can't wait to see what they throw at us, what they put on the field for us to see. So I'm very excited for position groups like this. So we'll do the same thing for defensive linemen because the 4-3 teams are obviously going to have 4 defensive linemen and the 3-4 teams are going to have 3. So we'll do the same thing. I'm excited for that. We got all kinds of rankings like these on the channel. More to come, more predictions, and then full coverage in season. You're definitely going to want to subscribe, turn notifications on, smash that like button. We much appreciate it. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Goodbye.